Welcome everybody. My name is Jordan. This is my partner Andrew. We're the owners of Everest Laboratories, and today we want to talk to you a little bit about JUULing. I think we can all agree that JUULing is becoming a problem with our high school students, and the negative impact it can have on their future is daunting. The JUUL device is seen by your students as sleek, cool, inconspicuous, and for some, even a necessity. So how are you supposed to stop your students from JUULing in school and get them help if you aren't familiar with what it is or does? That's where we were a few months ago. But today we're prepared to give you all the info you need to not only become familiar with JUULing, but start thinking of a plan to help your students in the coming school year. In this video, we're going to show you exactly what the JUUL looks like so you can see what all the buzz is about. Talk about its contents and explain why this is more of a minor problem in the making, and give you some real-time facts that will open your eyes, especially when they come from students that are already addicted to JUULing.
All right, so we went out and bought a JUUL just so we could show you guys what it actually is if you're unfamiliar with it. Let's open it up here. This is what they call a starter pack. Comes with the actual JUUL device and a few cartridges. So if you open this up here, have what looks to be like a USB drive. Small, sleek, visually appealing to younger kids, modern. Has a light here. Apparently when you take a drag, it pulls pulls and lights up. And then you have the pods here that are filled with the flavored substances or vaping that comes out. So this is kind of what it is. These go in here and
it charges with like a USB port that plugs into your computer or your laptop. So it really is really easy identifiable as a USB drive. As you can see, it just plugs in and plugs into the side of your computer. Parents, teachers, if you haven't seen this before, it would be very hard to identify it. So again, easily concealable by your kids or students. So tell me about what's in these pods, Andrew.
Well, these pods, like I started to say, have different flavors. Cool mint, fruit medley, all these appealing to younger kids and teenagers. Every pod contains about 5% nicotine by weight, which is equivalent to about a pack of cigarettes. It's a lot of nicotine. And each pod, I believe, is good for about 200 puffs.
Yeah, and all this information comes right from the JUUL website. I mean, they're very open about what's in their pod, what's in, what the JUUL device is all about, and, even the potency. 5% is pretty high, and when it comes in those flavors that those kids, are attracted to, you can easily see why kids and their friends and everyone is, this is the buzz. So, really, the problem is here, and one of the bigger problems is kids not knowing what they're actually taking in.
According to the Truth Initiative, which was big with the fight on cigarettes, tobacco, everything, is now realizing that this is a big issue with our youth as well. And according to them, on an article they put out, it's about 2/3 of users that are kids aren't even aware that it contains nicotine. They just think it's a cool device that they puff on, blow some smoke, and gives them a little buzz.
Yeah, so there it is. I mean, right there, they don't know. They're just doing it because it's cool, their friends are, and that's the first problem. I mean, not knowing. So let's explain, again, why, they don't know, but let's explain to you why this is so bad. Initially, the JUUL is designed for people that have cigarette smoking addiction or cigarette smoking problems. This was kind of a safer alternative, so adults who had these addictions could, basically get their nicotine fixed without all the harmful chemicals in cigarettes. But what ended up happening is it caught on with the youth, it caught on with kids and students, and became this cool thing to do. But the JUUL CEO has, hence since then come out and said basically that no young people and no non-nicotine users should ever use a JUUL. Well, if you're middle school and high school students, that's kind of the double whammy. You're young teenage kids and kids that have not been exposed to nicotine. If they're using this, that's, you're starting down that path to addiction, you're starting down that path to drug use. And when the CEO of this company that's just exploding is specifically coming out and saying, kids do not need to be using it, there's a good reason for it.
Right. I mean, kids that have never even thought about smoking a cigarette, that's gross, that smells, are getting addicted to the main addictive substance in cigarettes. And they're getting, there's testimonials where kids are now starting to use cigarettes because of these devices. They're doing exactly opposite of what they're meant to do.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's not what we want. That's not what JUUL was designed for. And it even goes even further. The Surgeon General put out a statement about JUUL and specifically, the nicotine in it, and talked about how when kids are young and their brains are developing, if they're getting addicted to nicotine, it's basically becoming ingrained in their brain. They're learning to need that nicotine in their body and in their system. And if you start that, at that addiction at such a young age, it's even harder to break. You have addiction across the entire country of all age people, all types of people, and the battle against addiction is hard. It's a hard uphill battle. And when you introduce it to kids that are 13, 14 years old, how do you think they're going to be doing when they're 20 or 30 or 40 if they're already learning that I need to have this nicotine, I need to have this JUUL in my hand at all times.
By the time they're in their mid-20s, they've been addicted to a substance for almost half their lives, and that's just setting them up for failure to just rely on substances or abuse to get them through any stressful time they have, or that's what they know by that point.
Exactly. And the JUUL's relatively new. It came out in 2015, but so there's not a lot of evidence of what happens after a kid's addicted to JUULing, and you can kind of speculate, if you're addicted to a drug at this young of an age, how's it going to become when you're postgraduate in high school, or when you're a full adult, working in your 20s and 30s. Are you moving on from nicotine and getting your fix with other more harmful drugs? That's the scary stuff that we're trying to get in front of and start the battle of stopping the JUUL use in high schools.
And it's tough because there's kids that are using. We've seen a video or two where there's kids that are 14, 15, 16 saying how all they want to do is just, while they're in class or studying, going through homework, all they want to do is just puff on their JUUL. And they're realizing it's a problem, even though they can't stop. From their, from themselves, they're saying this is a problem, and a lot of kids are going to get sick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got how many teenage, high school age kids will admit that they're wrong, that they have a problem? It's pretty rare, a lot of kids that age think they're right, but these kids are coming out and saying, hey, I'm already addicted to this, or I have a problem, and my peers have a problem, and they know it. And they're basically coming out and saying, we need to get help now before it explodes like it potentially could. This summer is probably going to be the first time that JUULing has been hot, that it'll be around, and kids are going to go out without supervision of parents or teachers or school or anyone, and with their friends, and they're going to hang out and probably just hit the JUUL.
And I mean, when you had something cool in high school, when you found something you really liked, you told your friends about it.
Absolutely.
You showed them, like, hey man, look what I'm doing, this is awesome. And at first kids might be skeptical, their parents told them smoking's bad, this and that, but once they get their hands on it and have taken a few puffs, hit it a couple times, start getting that nicotine going, and it's chemicals in their brain that are telling them, hey, you need to keep doing this. So
right.
What are they going to do?
So watch them. We'll put the link up to this video, these kids, and they're interviewing and talking about how they're addicted, and it opened our eyes, and it showed us that there truly is a problem that even the kids understand. I mean, they tell stories about how they leave class and go to the bathroom just to take a hit, or if they can't get away, they'll just take a hit in class and blow it in their shirt, or how they always have to have one in their hand while they're studying. Like, this is a problem, and it's not just your juniors and seniors. These are even middle school age kids that are addicted, and when you're starting that young, nothing good can come from it.
Exactly.
So really, what it comes down to is we kind of want to challenge you guys as parents, or as school administrators, teachers, principals, superintendents, athletic directors, whoever's out there watching. How can you expect your students to make the right choices in high school if we can't even help them make the right choices? With your guidance, how are you going to expect them to make it this summer, or when they're done with school? You have a chance now to influence them. Let's use it to do the right thing and steer them on the right path. Mm-hmm. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you guys learned something. I know we definitely did over the last couple of months looking into this. If you have anything you want to talk to us about, some solutions, or if you're looking for something, we have some ideas of what you can use to maybe implement and help your students, or if you just want to start a conversation, we'd love to talk. Maybe love to put you in touch with other parents or other schools that are facing the same issues. But really, we want to get out in front of this and and stop it before it becomes this epidemic across all the high schools, all the middle schools in the country. And pretty soon, nicotine addiction is starting, and who knows where it'll lead. So.
Exactly. So we're here to help. We're here to listen. Stay tuned, and thanks for checking in.